hopefully that's a good view for you guys. Okay, so we are going to start on a 14-inch Grapevine Wreath base. You can get these pretty much anywhere at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, even Walmart sells the Grapevine Wreath bases. This is just a 14-inch. You can use whatever size you want. Do know by the time we get done with this, it is going to be much larger than 14 inches. We're probably going to be looking at, 20, 22 inches by the time we get done. So it will be, you know, much larger than this 14-inch. So let's get started. We're going to start with greening our base. So kind of the idea for this is we're going to have some greenery. I'm going to put a bow right here and come down. So right in this area here is going to be our transition point. So from our bow, anything above our bow is going to go up. Anything from this part of the bow is going to go down. So we're going to keep that in mind as we do our greenery. So I'm going to start with this fun ivy. I'm guessing it's an ivy bush. I got this one at the at-home store. Cut the tag off. I'll give you the SKU just in case you want to look for it. 124197723. I think that's the SKU. It was $9.99 a bush, so not too terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this into several branches. Just going to use my cutters here. And I'm going to cut them into pieces. If you guys hop on, make sure you say hello. Let me know that you are watching. I'll try to watch for the comments, but I'm going to be honest with you, since I'm not very experienced at going live. If I miss your comments, I apologize, and I will go back and answer any questions after the live if I've missed any. So I'm just cutting these up. Some of these have, so you can see this stem has kind of like 3 attached to it. This one only has 1, so we'll use this as like filler. This will be our main piece that we'll put in. So let me cut these other little pieces off that'll be good fillers. We can go back and add those if we need to, fill in some spots when we're done. Okay, I think I'm going to save those. Those don't really have long enough for me to cut off. So we're just going to set those to the side. And I'm going to start. And remember, we want everything from the bow here to go up top. So I'm just giving this a good bend, getting it kind of positioned how I want it. All right, and then I'm going to dip it into my glue pot. And we're just going to slide it right in there. Now, I'm not worried about any of the glue showing right there because remember our bow is going to go there. So we've got the top part. Now, we're going to put the second piece down this way because, again, our bow is going to go right here in the center. So I am just going to shake hands with this greenery, give it a little bit of a bend because it's going to go this way. Dip it in my glue pot. And tuck it in right about there. Let's see if I have another piece. So I have another, this one's more of a single piece, but we're going to go ahead and use it because we need to add some more to the bottom. The bottom is obviously a little bit longer than the top since our bow is going to be more around the 10 o'clock position. So I'm going to add this one right in here to give this some length. Make sure our leaves are going in the right direction and facing up. Get another smaller one. I'm going to take and just pull the leaf off that bottom just to give me a little bit more of a stem. We're going to tuck this in right there. Okay, perfect. And after we get our bow, actually, let me go ahead and do it now. Well, we can add some more when we get our bow, but I'm going to take a couple of these smaller pieces and I'm going to put them right to the outside here. That way, when we add our bow, we will have some greenery behind it and it won't look like we've just forgot that spot. Glue, glue, glue. Okay, so far, this is how we have our base of our greenery laid. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add these really pretty, we're going to do like a blue and yellow lemon wreath. So I have these really pretty blue filler bushes. The SKU on this is 60919-BL. I got these from Decor Craft Supplies, which is my affiliate link for Deco Exchange. But I think they've been out of stock, so I don't know if they have any more in. But if they do, anytime you see these, grab them. I got them in all different colors. And I cannot wait till they get some more in. So I'm just going to pull this into 3 sections. This bush you can pull apart, and it gives you 3 nice little clusters. So we've got 3 clusters there. I'm going to do the same thing with this second one. And you can see that this separates into 3 pieces very nicely. So I'm just going to cut this one. And then I'll just pull these off. They're easy enough to pull. Okay, so we've got our pieces. I'm going to start with this piece here. I'm just going to pull everything apart, shake hands with it a little bit. These have some nice little sticks or stems in here. I'm just going to give them a little twist around my finger just to give them a little bit of a curl so that they're just not straight. They've got some texture to them. And I'm going to put this one more towards the outside. So I'm just kind of getting some placement here. See if I need to cut it down. I think I do need to cut it down just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to dip it in my glue pot. And we're going to put it right in this area right here. Just going to kind of intertwine it with some of this ivy greenery so that it looks like it's all just kind of growing together. I'm going to take another piece. I'm going to take one of these wires from this bush and just wrap it around to keep it together since we separated it. Shake hands with it a little bit, get it moving like it's nice and wild. I'm going to trim this down. Okay, we're going to put this one more towards the outside. So it's going to go right in this area here, right behind kind of where our bow is going to be. Move all this glue out of the way. Okay, and now we're going to take another piece. Let me get this one. Again, I'm just going to wrap this wire around just to kind of keep this together. I'll cut that off. I'm going to cut this and make it a little shorter. And this piece here is going to go more towards the inside of the wreath. So we're going to put it right in there. Again, intertwine some of these leaves and make it look like it's all growing together. Perfect. Now remember, our bow's going here. So now we need to go down. We went up above our bow. Now we're going to go down below our bow. So I know I want to cut this one down just a hair. Shake hands with it, get it all separated. Again, I'm going to give some of these little wood pieces or these little sticks a little curl. Give them a little bit of texture. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going down. So I'm going to go towards the outside here. Intertwine these. Perfect. I don't think I had pulled 3 of these, but I don't think we're going to need 3. So I'm going to set the other one aside. I think we're going to get away with just 2, but we'll have it if we need it. Okay, I'm going to cut this one down. Just shaking hands with it, giving it some texture. I'm going to put this one right in the center here. Intertwine our greenery. And I'm going to take the last piece. Let me cut it. Shake hands. Okay, and then this one is going to go at the bottom, right up here under these leaves. Sort it in the center. Okay, I'm going to intertwine this greenery. And this is what we have so far. It's pretty already. You could add a bow and be done. Looks super pretty, but we're going to keep going. So now we're going to add our lemons. So we're going to go ahead and get our lemons added. So I brought 3 stems. I'm not sure if we'll use all 3. Now these, we did have just a few left in the shop. I think we might have had like a dozen of these left. These have been selling fast because obviously lemon wreaths are really popular this time of year. So the SKU on this is CS25309. So I'm going to take this and separate into 3 sections. So I'm going to separate these. And we've got a rogue lemon here. I'll just save that, put it to the side. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little bit of a bend because it's going to go towards the top. This is my longer piece. I'm going to put it in my glue pot here, and towards the top center, we're just going to slide that right in so that it's just in there with the rest of our greenery. Okay, now I'm going to take my next piece and I'm going to kind of follow the position of what I did with those blue filler flowers. So this one's going to go kind of right in front of that. Give it a little bit of a bend so that's right, sitting right in front of that. Remember, our bow is going to go right here. So we're going to leave that spot. And I'm missing what I did with my other lemon piece. What did I do with it? Here it is. It's stuck in here. Okay, so now this piece again is going to go right in front of this other blue 60919. We're just going to put it right in front of there. Perfect. Oh, that's so pretty. The blue, I love the blue. I love the blue and the yellow together. Okay, so we're going to take another bush. I think we'll start with 2. We'll see if we need to add the 3rd one. I brought 3 just in case, but we may not need it. Okay, again, we have a little rogue lemon. I don't know why they did this. They put one little lemon out here by its lonesome. What am I going to do with that? Well, we'll save it. We may need it for something else. Okay. So again, I'm going to follow the same sort of position that I did with the, let me give this a twist, blue filler flowers. So this lemon stem, I'm going to give it a bend, is going to go right in this section here, right filler flowers. Got something in my glue pot that has decided to stick to my lemon stem. Okay, there we go. And make sure we get it in that grapevine. So sometimes you gotta maneuver it in there. And again, we're just going to kind of mix everything together. We don't want it to look like stuff is just laying on top of each other. Okay, we're going to take our next piece. I'm going to come out this way, right where this other blue filler flower was. So pretty. Okay, and then our last piece will come right over here by this one. Perfect. So super pretty already. Okay, now before I add our last greenery, which is going to be more of just filler, I'm going to go ahead and do our bow. So if you guys have ever watched any of my videos, you know by now I cannot make hand bows to save my life. I've tried. I know I need to keep practicing. Someday I will get there, but until then, I use my handy dandy easy bow maker. So you can get these off of Decor Craft Supplies. They had some. They usually keep them in stock. So I'm going to use my easy bow maker. So I'm going to start with, I'm just going to do a real simple, keep this simple. I've got this really pretty D. Stevens canvas ribbon with the yellow stripe on the side. And then we're going to pair that with this blue gingham. I don't know if we still have any of the blue gingham in stock, but the SKU is RW7806. I know at one time we had some of this. I'm not sure if we still do. But I'm going to give this about a 16-inch tail where you can trim it down once we get it on the bow. You can always cut and make shorter, but you can't add length, right? So I'm going to make these loops about 6 inches. And I'm going to do 2 loops on each side of this. And they're going to all be at 6 inches. You can see even with the bow maker, I'm still not a pro at making bows. I've been making wreaths for, oh gosh, 3-4 years now, and I still struggle with bows, so it's okay. It's okay, friends. There are certain things that just not in our wheelhouse, and that's okay. Bows is mine. Okay, I'm gonna make this tail long. And then we can cut it down once we get it on there. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside, and then we're going to go in with our gingham. And again, I'm going to make about a 16-inch tail, and we can trim it down. Now on this one, I'm just going to do 1 loop here in the center, and it is going to be about 5 inches. Okay, and let me find my other scissors. There they are. Okay, now I'm going to, you can use a pipe cleaner, perfectly fine. I like to use zip ties, I'd say 95% of the time. Sometimes I will use the pipe cleaners. But for the grapevine, I find it easier to put into the grapevine with the with the zip tie instead of the pipe cleaner. So that's just my preference. So I'm gonna make this tight, but not too tight, because we need to put this other zip tie right in the back, slide it right through so that we can put it onto the grapevine. So I'm gonna make sure before I tighten it too tight that I have my loops like I want them. Okay, just gonna make that tighter. I'm gonna put the bow maker away. We're done with it for now. Now I'm gonna clean up this bow just a little bit by covering up that zip tie there in the center. I'm gonna do that with this yellow. So I'm just gonna cut me a little strip of this. And fold this in half. Actually, let me cut it. Okay, now I'm going to fold it in half. And we're just going to tie it around the back. Give it 2 loops. There we go. I'm going to add just a dot of glue on there just to make sure that does not come untied. Okay. Now while that's drying a second, I see a couple glue strings I'm just going to pull out. Make sure you check if you sell your wreaths, or even if you don't sell them, even if you're just going to hang them up, just check your wreaths because sometimes these glue strings, they get stuck in there. You don't want to have them hanging. Okay, so now I'm going to take and I'm going to place my bow right where we had made a spot for it. I'm just going to slide it through some of these grapevine branches. Okay, and then we're going to come up and zip tie it in here. Get it placed where we want it before we tie it too tight. And then give it a good pull. Okay, now I'm going to cut that off. Now let's fix our bow. Love it. Okay, and normally I would dovetail these, but I think for this one I'm just going to cut it to the side. So I cut the gingham just slightly shorter than the yellow and beige ribbon. So here's where we're at so far. Super pretty. We may add some tails up there. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get the filler in first and then decide if we want to add some tails to the top. I just kind of design as I go. Some people have a plan. I don't. I grab stuff and then just kind of figure it out. So some people have a recipe. That's not me. So this filler bush, I think it's called a seeding eucalyptus, I think. We did have some of this in the shop. The SKU is PF172353. And if you guys don't know what the shop is, when I say we have them in the shop, tctcrafts.com. tctcrafts.com is where you can find our shop. We also sell on Etsy. But tctcrafts.com goes directly to our website. So I'm just going to, these are pusher bushes, so you can just push these up. I give them a little push. Sorry if I sound so nasally, guys. My allergies is fighting with me today. Okay, I'm going to cut these kind of long, just so we have enough stem to work with. We can cut them down if we need to. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut 2 of these up. I don't think we'll need the third one. lost a limb there. Okay, so I'm going to cut these up. Okay, now we're going to use these as fillers. So I'm just going to go around. I'm going to start up at the top. We're just going to slide these in some of these spots that have some little holes where we need to fill it in. I don't really have a, like I said, a recipe. I just go where I see it looks like it needs some filler. And I'm just going to put it in there. Oh my gosh, I just totally ripped that one. So let's get to the side. We have a hole there. We've got a hole above the bow. So I'm going to cut this down a little bit because we don't want it super high. We want it to kind of hug the bow. So we're going to stick it right down in there. And look, I lost a limb. That's okay, it happens. But now you can see we've got this in our bow right here, and it doesn't look like it's got a hole right there. We're going to do the same thing right beneath it. So let me cut this down just a little bit. And right underneath this bow, we're going to give it some of that filler. So now it's kind of sandwiched nicely with this filler. Now I'm just going to keep going around. So I'm going to go back behind here, back behind this bow. We don't want to forget about that. Sometimes when I would design before, I would be focused on my top, my bottom, and I wouldn't do anything on the side over here. And so then it just looked like I had this really strange bald spot. So I want to make sure I get some of these out here to kind of fill in that, the side spot behind the bow here, so that we're not just naked. Okay. So we were around this side. Now let's just keep going. And I'm just filling in some spots here. Where it looks like we have some holes. Let's do one on this side. Do one down here underneath. Let's do one at the bottom down here. And I want to keep with kind of this circle, so I'm going to add a piece right under here. We have one little piece left. I'm going to tuck in right over here underneath this. So here we go. What do you guys think? You think it needs some tails? Let me look. If I did something, we would do maybe a tail up in here. And then one down below. I think I'm just going to leave it. We definitely could. You definitely could add some. Oh, maybe. Okay. I'm being indecisive. I think I am going to add this. I'm going to add a little bit of this tail. So what I'm going to do is get a zip tie. I'm going to just tie this. Zip tie this. Make sure it's nice and tight. And And let's see, we did not dovetail, we did it to the side, so we'll do it to the side there. I'm going to use one of these pieces that we had to kind of hide that zip tie where we put that bow. So we're just going to tuck it in like that. And I'm going to cut it right here so it's not quite as long. Our little tail's hanging down. Okay, now let's do the same thing up here. Let's get a zip tie. You can also use a pipe cleaner. Pipe cleaners are probably a little cheaper than the zip ties. So I'm going right up under this greenery because I want to hide the part of the ribbon that we cut off. So I'm just going to zip tie this. And I'm going to go back on that other and just put a dab of glue on it just to hold it. Make sure that zip tie does not come out and our ribbon doesn't come out. So I'll do that in just a second on the other one. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of glue under here. And let's go about let's cover up. Use this one. Cover up our zip tie. I just stuck my finger in that glue. That was hot. Okay, so there we go. Super cute.